moment. So hello and welcome to the Tourism NT Trade Training Program, everyone. My name's Karen Smith and I'm the Distribution Coordinator for Tourism NT. Just a reminder before we start, please ensure that your video is off and that your microphone is on mute. If you've got any questions during the webinar, you can send them through the chat box, and we will be recording the session as we'll have it on our website a little later. So I will just share my screen. Rachel, can you just let me know you can see that okay?
Yep, that's all good.
Great. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm really excited to see that we have got agents from Australia and New Zealand online today. We have combined our training program for both, so welcome everybody. And welcome to anyone that's new, that's recently joined the program. We hope that you find it useful in getting a better understanding of the Northern Territory. So the aim of the program is to help you understand the NT better so that you can sell it to your clients with confidence. I just want to welcome our three operators that are joining us today. We have Alex Dye from Uluru Audio Guide. You might know Alex, who also works for the Uluru Segway Tours. We have Angela Piper from Sealink. They run a variety of cruises around Darwin, including a really great trip out to the Tiwi Islands. And Michael Buggy from World Expeditions, and they offer a variety of trekking packages in the Northern Territory, namely the Larapinta and Trails, amongst others. So welcome to you all. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be talking to you very soon. So I just want to give you a few updates on what's happening in the Northern Territory. So in regards to COVID, we have no current hotspots at the moment, which is fantastic. We had, there's been little bit in the news in the last week about New South Wales, but everything seems to be all under control, which is great. All visitors into the Northern Territory must complete an online form before they arrive, and they can do that on the coronavirus.nt.gov.au website. And obviously the other exciting news is that Australia and New Zealand now have the two-way bubble, which is really fantastic news. This picture here is just a screenshot of the website of what the form looks like. That needs to be completed. So the seasons in the Northern Territory, we are now officially in the dry season in the top end, and winter in the red centre, which are our peak seasons. So the top end is still pretty warm, but the humidity is low, and the red centre has some lovely warm days but cooler nights. So it makes it the optimal time to visit. For those of you who are already trying to book accommodation or activities into the NT, you might already know that we're coming into the peak season. We know things are pretty busy up there. If you're having any real issues with booking, please get in touch with us and we can do what we can to help out. We might be able to suggest some alternatives for you to book. So what's new? We have a new trade website. It's trade.northernterritory.com. It has just launched yesterday. It's really the same information, but it's a much cleaner look and it's a better user experience. The webinars, modules and itineraries are all now categorised, so it's a bit easier to navigate. So if you've got a client that's looking for something to do in the Red Centre, then you can click on the Red Centre link and it will bring up anything relating to the Red Centre. So that's really great. We have a new module online. It's called Uniquely NT. It's part 1. We're going to have part 2 next quarter. We found that there was so much information in there, we didn't want to overload you too much. That can be found in the module section of the new trade website, and it looks at 4 different areas: the Under the Stars experiences, excuse me, Aboriginal events, some different wildlife that you encounter when you're in the Northern Territory, and rock art. And you need to have completed this to be in to win our great prize. We have a couple of campaigns in market at the moment. We have the Drive campaign, which is we want to inspire Australians and New Zealanders to have a fly drive or self drive holiday to the NT. Obviously, due to COVID, we can't leave Australia except for going to New Zealand, and people potentially have a little bit more annual leave up their sleeves. So this is the perfect time for them to hit the road. We're promoting the region not just as the destination that you arrive at, but as all the different surprises that you will encounter along the way. And we definitely have many of those in the Northern Territory. I've discussed some of our drive itineraries in previous webinars, and these can all be found on our website. We also have a really great consumer competition running where one lucky winner will win a $10,000 self-drive dream holiday to the NT. So this all can be found on our consumer site, which is northernterritory.com. slash drive. We also have the Seek campaign in market, which I've talked about previously, and it's reminding people to seek something different in the NT, and there's lots more information about their campaign on our website too. Flight capacity into the NT has increased greatly over the last few months. So most of the direct flights are coming back online. So this map here, you can see all the direct flights going into Darwin. So at the moment, Qantas have 14 flights from Adelaide a week. They have 11 flights from Brisbane, 14 from Melbourne and 13 from Sydney. So those are direct flights, and that's just Qantas. Virgin and Jetstar also doing direct flights into Darwin. So there's a lot of capacity there. Into Alice Springs, Qantas have got 14 flights coming in from Adelaide, 7 from Melbourne and 7 from Sydney, and Virgin also flying that route too. And Ayers Rock have got 3 flights a week from Brisbane, 6 from Melbourne and 7 from Sydney. So it's great to see that capacity is getting back up to the pre-COVID levels. I just want to touch on a couple of events that we've got coming up. This is the Mindle Beach Sunset Markets. They run every dry season. They're an absolute must-do if you're in Darwin. They are on every Thursday and Sunday nights, and they're a really great place to experience some local cuisine. There's about 300 stalls, and they sell a whole range of things, a lot of locally made handcrafts and knickknacks. It's definitely worth a visit, and they're at the Mindle Beach. They run until October. The Taste of Kakadu is an event that's taking place in the Kakadu National Park, and it's back with a great program from the 28th to the 30th of May 2021. There's a 3-day program, and it includes cooking demonstrations, ranger tours. There's a yellow water canopy cruise on the yellow water billabong, weaving workshops, and a whole raft of other things which are on offer. The Gama Festival is in Arnhem Land, and it is taking place from the 30th of July to the 2nd of August. It's a premier Indigenous event, and it's a celebration of the cultural, artistic and ceremonial traditions of the Aboriginal people from this region. It's a 4-day event, and it's just a window into the slice of life that people often don't see of the remote communities, so really interesting. And the Darwin Festival is coming up. It takes place from the 5th to the 22nd of August. It's when Darwin really comes alive with a host of events, from the comedian Hannah Gatsby through to the Darwin Symphony Orchestra to Opera Australia. And there's a raft of interesting events that are celebrating the First Nations people of the region too. So I just want to touch on some of the competitions that we've had running lately. The summer sale finished up on the 30th of March. So thank you to everybody that took part in that. We had 10 winners who will be joining us on our All of NT for Mill in September, and that includes an overnight on the GAN. So congratulations to everybody who won that. The product showcase winners are also listed. We had 6 winners who all won a different package to the NT. So well done, guys. It was awesome. And just a shout out to any New Zealand agents that we have on today, that we have a promotion running with Tourism Australia Aussie Specialist Program. At the moment, you can win an overnight journey on the GAN for 2, and there's more information about that on the Aussie Specialist website. So that closes on the 15th of May, so please get in quick with that. So for this quarter, this is the favourite part of my job here, is organising the prizes for our training program. So this quarter we have 3 packages valued at $1,000 each, and that includes a pair of RM Williams boots and a Creple hat. So a pretty cool prize. So obviously, to be able to win, you need to have registered for the webinar, which you guys all have done, and you need to complete the module. Okay, so that is it from me. I just want to hand you over to our operators now. So I'll just stop sharing my screen, and Alex, are you ready to go?
Hi, Karen. Yeah, I can go.
Great.
Alrighty. Can everyone see and hear me okay?
Sure can.
Fantastic. All right, I've got a PowerPoint. I'd like to introduce you to a new product we've just launched in September last year. This new business is a really exciting business because it helps people explore Uluru and Katajuda in a way that they never have. So it's called Uluru Audio Guide, and it's actually a GPS triggered device that visitors to the region can hire and use to self-explore the area. So I'll just open up this PowerPoint, and there you go. Can everyone see that okay?
Yep.
There's Uluru audio guide with the
I can
kangaroo
see
on
the
the front.
dance. Yep.
Great. All right. So, like I said, it's a GPS triggered audio guide device that visitors to the region are able to hire, and they can take it out in their own vehicle or on the hop on, hop off bus and use it to explore Uluru and Katajuda on their own and still learn a lot about the region. If you've ever been here before, you know that our national park is stunning and there's so much to learn. However, for visitors who don't want to join a guided tour, or maybe don't speak English and can't afford to join a private tour, that it doesn't have a lot of signage, so it can be difficult to learn about this area. So this audio, it's available in 7 languages. So we have it in English, Japanese, Chinese, French, German, Spanish, and Italian. So for most of our traditional markets that came here pre-COVID, this is a really exciting product that they can use when they start coming back to the region. For now, though, it is incredibly popular with people who do fly drive holidays and then also people who are making caravanning trips around Australia. So what is it? It's a GPS triggered audio guide. It works similarly to Google Maps. Once you press play, it will do the rest. It knows where you are, and as you drive on a road, maybe you drive past a turnoff, it'll tell you where that turnoff and that road will take you. Or if you're walking around Uluru, as you walk into a cave with rock art, it's accurate enough that it will actually tell you what you're looking at inside the cave, like what rock art symbols you might be seeing and what they might mean. So it's a very clever little device. It's been all the content has been created and recorded by several tour guides who actually put together their heads and their minds and thought about what are the questions that we get asked the most? What do people want to know? So it's very fact friendly. It's written and spoken in a way that's easy to understand, and it covers the things that people actually care about. All of the content has also been approved by the National Park, so you know it's good quality information that is accurate and reflective of what's culturally appropriate as well. So, like I said, this Uluru audio guide is perfect for anyone doing a self-drive holiday or a fly drive itinerary, and it's available in 7 languages. Essentially, it's like having a tour guide in your pocket. You can pick it up and hire it, and you can use it from sunrise till sunset and help explore the region. So the device hire for this little device, it's 24-hour hire. So if you pick it up at 9 a.m. today, you just have to drop it off at 9 a.m. the next day if you hire it for 1 day. If you hire it for 2 days or 3 days, then it's in 24-hour increments. So the main benefits of this is you can drive yourself and you won't get lost. So for visitors who want to see it all and they don't want to join a tour, maybe they just want to explore on their own, have a fun family holiday and not have to go with the crowd, it will help give them directions so it makes their tour, it makes their experience less frustrating. They know what they can find, and they're going to learn a lot. It's really quality content. Like we said, it's got Aboriginal culture, there's geology, there's history, it talks about the landscape, and it gives handy tips that help people explore the national park like a local. It's hands-free, so by being GPS, you don't have to press it or look like you might in a museum and look for signs that match the number on the device. Basically, set and forget. So you can play it through headphones on the device, and you can walk around and do the base walk at Uluru using headphones whilst you listen to it. Or if you're traveling in the car, you can actually play it through the car stereo using an auxiliary cord or an FM radio transmitter. So we've got an option that suits virtually every vehicle. It's really good value as well. So the audio guide, when you hire it, it's $29 per device per day. So if you're a couple and you're going out, it's a really good addition. Maybe you've booked them a hire car. This is the would you like fries with that add-on. So for a couple, you might hire them 2 more. It's $58 for 24 hours on top of their car hire, but it will really enhance their experience and they'll leave having such a greater appreciation for this area. So it's got over 100 stories that cover Uluru's Aboriginal culture, history, geology, and everything in between. When you think about Uluru and you think about the places that this device covers, it covers the entire base walk around Uluru. So that includes the Marla walk and all of those caves, the Mutijulu waterhole walk, and all of the roads around Uluru, even out to the sunrise viewing area. The device also includes content for Kakadu, and you can listen to the device talking to you as you travel to Kakadu and returning from Kakadu. It covers the Walpa Gorge Walk as well. The device is so clever, it actually gives you different content on the way to these rock formations as on the way home from these rock formations. So it is really clever technology that hasn't been used in this area or in the NT before. So it's such a great way to experience and learn more about just what people are here to experience. Now, our device, not only does it have facts and stories and information, it also has music on it. So it keeps it lighthearted and it gives people an opportunity to unwind and hear some really fun songs. So we've got Indigenous covers of famous Midnight Oil songs. We've got John Williamson, Raining on the Rock. And we've also got, it's quite quirky and I love it, we've got Trevor Adamson, who's one of the board members of Uluru Kakadu National Park, and we've got his cover of Waltzing Matilda in Pitjantjatjara, the local Aboriginal language that's triggers on the way home from Kakadu, which is a really nice little way to bop along and enjoy what you're seeing in a little different quirky way. So like I said, you can hire these devices and take them around Uluru for one day or several days. Often people like them for 2 days. It ties in with their itinerary really nicely. They might have an Uluru day and a Kakadu day, but it's very flexible and can match essentially any itinerary. So if you're booking an Uluru audio guide device, your clients just pick them up from the Ayers Rock Resort Tourism Information Centre, the TIC Centre in town. So it's easily accessible from all the hotels. So the guests, when they need to pick up their device, they just come in, hand over their information, and we'll set them up with a device and a kit with headphones and all the rest of it. Whilst we're only a new product and we have launched in a relatively challenging time during COVID rebound, we're getting incredible customer feedback. Our TripAdvisor reviews are telling us that visitors love this and they're learning so much more about the region and leaving with a deeper understanding of Indigenous culture, of the landscape, of the history, of all of this sort of thing. I get to work on occasion in the Tourist Information Centre and I get to see people returning these devices. And I had a lady come in last week and she told me it was the best $29 she'd ever spent, and she was so happy. She hired one for her and then one for all of her kids, and they just loved it. They named their device Sarah, and they travelled around Uluru listening to Sarah tell them stories about the place. So if you'd like to know more about Uluru Audio Guide or get in contact with us, reach out to me. My name's Alex. You can flick me an email at manager@uluruaudioguide.com.au, or if you want to make a reservation and you've already contracted with us, then it's reservations@uluruaudioguide.com.au. And I've got our website down below. It's www.uluruaudioguide.com.au. Take a look on the website. There's some samples of the audio in English, but also in other languages. So if you're thinking about your inbound clientele when things start to open up, then this might be something interesting for you as well. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Thanks, Alex. Rachel, did any questions come through?
No, not that I've seen. So just a reminder, if you guys want to pop any questions in the meeting chat, then we can ask on your behalf.
Great. All right. Well, thank you, Alex. That looks like a really great cost-effective product. So thanks for sharing that with us. Next, we have Angela Piper from Sealink. So Angela, if you'd like to go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Yes, I'm not on mute this time. Got a camera. Okay, and let's see if I can share my screen. That one. Can everyone see that? Have you got that?
Yep, we have. Yep, thank you.
Oh, great. Okay. So by way of introduction, I'm Angela Piper. I'm the General Manager for Sealink Northern Territory. We're part of the Sealink travel group, so a lot of people might know other Sealink products such as Captain Cook Cruises in Sydney and WA. Obviously Kangaroo Island Sealink, which has been operating for a long time, which is where I started back in my career about 30-something years ago. And we also have Stradbroke ferries and run ferry services pretty much anywhere around the country where there are islands and vessels and tours needed. So we've been operating here in the Northern Territory for nearly 8 years. We operate services across the harbour from Cullen Bay in Darwin across to Mandorah, which is about a 12 to 15-minute trip across the harbour, depending on the weather. That's mainly a commuter service where people come into town for school and work every day, but there is a little outback style country club over there where people can go and have dinner on Thursday, Friday nights and on the weekends, and that's a popular little package. Our main tourism product though is the Tiwi Islands, and the vessel that you see on the right of your screen is the Tiwi Mantawi, which is named by the Tiwi people. It means Tiwi friend. That ferry runs up to the Tiwi Islands 3 times a week and 4 times in our peak season in the dry season, and that's purely due to tourism demand. There's so many people wanting to jump onto the tours. So as I said, Tiwi Islands is our main tourism destination. We operate to Creple Island, and I'll go through that towards the end of the presentation. We also operate cruises on Darwin Harbour, and I'll talk about that a bit later. But on to Tiwi Islands first. It's one of our local Tiwi people who turned up one day when we were doing a photo shoot, and he wasn't even part of the shoot, and he just turned up, painted up, and really wanted to be a part of it. And it's just such a great image, and it, I think, really shows the character of the Tiwi people, because they just love to share their culture and they love to have visitors, and they actually do understand the importance of tourism to their economy. So it's a welcoming experience. So a bit of information about the Tiwi Islands. Not many people actually have heard about the Tiwis, and we find that a lot of our bookings come through once people arrive in Darwin, and it's a shame because people often come in and say, oh, we've just heard about the Tiwis, but they're leaving the next day, or they don't have enough time, they haven't put a full day aside. So the more information we can get out about Tiwi Islands, the better before people travel, so that they can make that decision. It is a full day from Darwin, and it's a fair way by ferry. It's a 2.5-hour trip each way, so they do really need to put a full day aside. And the Tiwis was part of the mainland many years ago, and the strait that you see running between those 2 islands is called the Apsley Strait. That's actually the continuation of the Adelaide River, which is just to the east of Darwin. Tiwis has many islands, but the 2 main islands are Bathurst Island and Melville Island, and our ferry goes to the main community called Warramiunga on Bathurst Island. They're really big islands. Melville Island is the 2nd largest in Australia after Tasmania. And we get many people wanting to know if they can go to the Tiwis and walk around the island, and unfortunately they wouldn't even have time to walk around the community, let alone any of the islands. So that gives you an idea of how big they are. There's about 3,000 people that live on the Tiwis. Probably close to half of those people would live in Warramiunga, and the other people would live in a couple of communities on Melville Island. That's Milakarpiti and Perlingimpi. Tiwis are very famous for their art and culture. They consider themselves to be a separate culture to mainland Aboriginal people, and they actually don't refer to themselves as Aboriginal. They're just Tiwi people. Their textile arts in particular are collected overseas and quite famous, and for many years the Tiwi art was really a big part of why people came to Darwin and Northern Territory, and I think that we might have lost that a little bit in recent years with so many other great products popping up. So we need to get Tiwi Islands back on the map. Every year there's the art show in March and the football grand final, which we just had at the end of March. It's a huge event. It's a once a year. So if people want to come up for that event, then book ahead. We already have a list of people in line for next year, and it always sells out. It's a very popular day, and that's when the art centres from Melville Island bring everything across to Bathurst Island. So everyone can get to see all of the art from everywhere all in one place, and it's just an amazing day where the whole community comes out. Everyone paints up in their colours. It's crazy, it's hot, but it's a fantastic day. So the tours that we operate, we have one called Sealink's Tiwi by Design, which is a full day tour. It's the best experience. If people are wanting the premium experience, then this is the one that you should recommend. It operates on Thursdays and Fridays, and we also run in Mondays in the dry season. It includes the return ferry and a Tiwi guide, and it's a walking tour, so everything is very close to where the ferry lands, so there's really no reason to hop on a bus. The art centre where they start the tour is a 2-minute walk. The museum is another 2 or 3 minutes walk across the road, and the church is right next door to that. So it's all very close. There's very little walking, and people don't need any real level of fitness. And we've actually had people with walking frames do the tour, so it's quite doable for pretty much everyone. We have Tiwi guides who accompany the guests all day, and they will meet people at the ferry and walk up to the art centre, and that's where we have the traditional welcome ceremony. And so we have a group of probably about 10 Tiwi dancers who perform a smoking ceremony, and they do the local totem dances, so that they have different dances for the different skin groups and clans on the island. They have a bit of a talk about skin groups and some of the local social rules about who can marry who, and the reason that brothers and sisters don't grow up in the same houses together, and all that information about family relationships. They then take people over to the museum, which has been curated over 50 years by Sister Anne Gardner. She's a Catholic nun who's been living on the islands for 70 years, and she was the Senior Australian of the Year in 2018. She's an absolute living legend, and she's been looking after many of the Tiwi artefacts and curating Tiwi language and culture with the Tiwi people for that amount of time. And she's established a very good little museum over there with so much information. So the guides take people through the museum. They explain the creation stories of the Tiwi people. They explain some of the old artefacts, some of the World War II history, but people also have time to have a look around themselves. They then go on to the old church, which everyone might have seen in Top End Wedding, in the movie where the couple get married up on the Tiwi Islands. It's a beautiful old wooden church, which is no longer in use, but they do open it only for people that are on this tour. So it's a really good opportunity to go inside and have a look at a beautiful old wooden church. It's all painted up Tiwi style inside. It's really quite fascinating to hear about how the Tiwi people have adopted the Catholic faith, but still have their own Tiwi beliefs as well. It's really quite interesting how it all works together. After they do that, they go back to the art centre and they have lunch, and then the highlight of the afternoon for many people is the workshops, the screen printing workshops. And you can see in the image here, that's the style of printing that people can do. They print a tablecloth, sorry, not a tablecloth, a tea towel or a length of fabric or a t-shirt. They work with probably Alan, who's in that photo. He's a master printer. He's been there for over 25 years, and he helps people to do their printing, and they take that home with them. And we've had people come back and said that the tour has actually changed their lives, which might be on the exaggerating side, but it's a nice thing to hear, and people find it a fantastic experience and a great opportunity to really just sit and engage with Tiwi people. We have a new product this season called Awana Tiwi, which is a bit of a light version. It's for people that don't really want to be on a guided tour. But Tiwi still feel that it's important that people are welcome to their land. So we've put together this package with the Tiwi. It includes that welcome ceremony, so that people are appropriately welcomed when they arrive, and then they're off on their own. So they have an entry ticket to the museum, and apart from that, they can go there when they please, spend as long as they please. It's not guided. So they can go visit the other art centres, they can go to the footy oval, they can just have a walk along the main street. There are many buildings that are painted up Tiwi style. The old boat shed down at the beach, the clinic, the footy club, everything's painted up and very photographic. There is the old cemetery as well, where people can see Pukamani poles. But I would just tell your clients to be careful and not go there if there's any sign that there's some sort of ceremony. It wouldn't be appropriate to go there when there's a funeral on. A few FAQs for the Tiwi Islands. We get a lot of people asking, can they just buy a ferry ticket? Yes, they can. They're free to. It's a public transport service that we run, so people can certainly buy a ticket and do their own thing. They can go to the art centres, they can turn up at the museum and pay when they get there. They won't have access to the old church, and they won't have the welcoming ceremony or the screen printing or any of those workshop or guide type of things, but they can certainly wander around and take a picnic or buy their own food and do what they want to do. The other question that we always get asked is, do they need a permit? And the answer is that Tiwi Islands is Aboriginal land, it's private land. Warramunga sits under a federal government lease, and so there is no permit required to visit Warramunga. But if people do want to leave that community, or if they want to go onto the wider areas on either of those islands, then they do need to get a permit, and they get that through the Northern Land Council. And I thought I'd give you a little sneak peek. It's not open yet, but there's a new guest house about to open, and we'll be offering some overnight packages up at the Tiwi Islands. This is brand new, so they're not even professional shots, and we took those just a week ago when we were visiting. But there's a 10-room guest house about to open. It's situated on the grounds of the Tiwi Design Art Centre. It's about 2 minutes walk from the ferry terminal, and it's right there at the art centre. So very good base for people wanting to do some more focused art workshops, which we'll have coming very shortly in these packages. Just a quick overview of our other products. We operate a little harbour sightseeing cruise. It goes every day at about 5 to 12. Which is a funny time, I know. It's timed to meet with the double-decker sightseeing bus that goes around it, so it meets their timetable, so that people hopping off of that bus can hop straight onto our cruise, and then they can get back onto the bus afterwards. So 45-minute cruise. It goes into Darwin Harbour, looks at the wharves and the landmarks along the esplanade. Our captains give live commentary about the history of the harbour, the ships under the water. There are shipwrecks under there from the bombing and Cyclone Tracy. Lots of other information. It's a very good little overview of Darwin if people have some time. And our other product that you may or may not know about is Creple Island, which we operate on some Saturdays, which it's tide dependent. So we have to have the right tide to get there. So generally about twice a month. It's about a 2-hour trip each way, and we have a package including a local seafood buffet lunch at the resort when we get there. It's very popular, so certainly a great day out if people are looking to do something that's relaxing and very good food. And it's just a few images of the resort. So I think that's it from me.
Great, thanks Angela, that was really interesting. I love the look of the Tiwi Island tours. Rachel, have we had any questions come through?
No, not specifically for Angela. So again, if anyone has any questions, just pop them in the chat box.
Great, thank you. Brilliant, thanks
you.
for that, Angela. That's great. And next up we have Michael Buggy from World Expeditions. So Michael, if you want to share your screen. And you're on mute still too, Michael. Yep, perfect, we can see that.
Great, yeah, can you see my screen there?
Yep, we can.
Fantastic, right, thanks for having me. I'm just gonna move on to another screen. So yeah, thanks for the introduction. My name's Michael. I am from World Expeditions. I'm the general manager of all our Australian operating companies. And what I'm going to talk to you mostly today about is one of our brands, Australian Walking Holidays that operates primarily in the Northern Territory, and more specifically, probably today. I'm going to talk about the trips that we operate on the Larapinta Trail that begins in Alice Springs. So we are, as I mentioned, Australian Walking Holidays, and that is a division of World Expeditions. So Australian Walking Holidays and some of our other companies, we run active small group holidays all over Australia. So we do rafting trips, cycling trips, but our primary focus is on multi-day walking trips, and one of the places that we've had a huge amount of success is the Larapinta Trail that runs out of Alice Springs in the Northern Territory. So it's in recent years the Larapinta Trail has become quite popular and a sort of desired walk for a lot of people. We've been operating there. We were the first commercial operator in 1995 and have been the market leader ever since. So this is just a map to give you a bit of I like to use this one because it'll show some of the walks that we do on the particular trip that I'm talking about mainly today. So this is Alice Springs over here, and the West Macdonald mountain range runs to the west from Alice Springs, and it provides a beautiful 223 kilometre trail known as the Larapinta Trail. Now, so we offer a whole range of trips from 3-day experience trips all the way to Larapinta end to end, where you walk the entire trail over 2 weeks. But our flagship product is the classic Larapinta in Comfort, which is a member of the Great Walks of Australia, one of only 7 walks that are in that signature series. And this walk, I've highlighted these red sections that show the areas that we're able to cover in that 6-day highlight trip. So with a trail being so long at 223 kilometres, it's only achievable to do a few sections in that short 6-day period, but we've chosen the most stunning and spectacular sections of the trail to walk. And we also have our semi-permanent campsites that were negotiated with the traditional owners and National Parks Northern Territory to allow us to set up these eco campsites that are marked on this map as well. And it's due to those campsites that we're able to deliver a trip in such a way that clients are able to walk with only day packs. So that really opens up the market, I guess, in comparison to a lot of other great walks around Australia and multi-day journeys that require clients to carry a full pack with sleeping gear, emergency gear and the like. So our clients are able to do the walk in these stunning sections of the trail with only a day pack, and some water and snacks is all they're required to carry. So like I said, our flagship product is called the Classic Larapinta in Comfort. It's 6 days, all days are walking, and the 5 nights are staying at our semi-permanent eco campsites along the trail. It's an all-inclusive package, so all meals are provided while you're out on the trail, and they'll have a minimum of at least 2 professional wilderness guides with you for the entire trip, who will take care of all the catering, obviously, and provide a huge level of information and interpretation of the trail as you make your way along. So the trip will run from April through to September, and that's purely based on the weather. Outside of that time, it is getting too hot to be out in an environment like that. So it is a reasonably limited season that we are able to operate, and certainly the peak months are June, July for that trip. Here's just a little thing on some of our awards. As I mentioned earlier, I guess World Expeditions, the greater group of companies, and in particular our operations in Northern Territory, we're very focused on providing responsible travel solutions and making sure that we're being really aware of sustainability and always striving to reduce our footprint. That work that we've done in the Northern Territory has been acknowledged in recent years, being the winner of the Best Ecotourism Product in the Northern Territory in 2017, 2016, and recently in 2019. 2020 marked our 25th year operating on the Larapinta Trail, and we were excited for a big celebration that year that obviously didn't go to plan, but we're back in 2021, and we've got really strong levels of demand with domestic tourism, people really focused on travelling at home this year, which is fantastic and a relief for us, I can assure you. It's fully eco certified, and like I said, it's a member of the Great Walks of Australia. Prior to COVID, we did begin having a lot of international interest. That's obviously slowed down now, but we'll be really looking to pick up on that again as soon as conditions allow. So as I mentioned, one of the primary selling points of this particular trip are our campsites that are out on the trail. So they've been architecturally designed, and they've won awards in small scale architecture, and as I mentioned, eco awards as well. So they really provide a high level of comfort in what is a particularly harsh environment, a very, very arid environment out in the West Macdonald Ranges. So they're very, as you see here, really comfortable and scenic tents. Just being able to stand up in a tent is a privilege for anyone who's tried to get changed in a smaller tent or anything like that. It can be particularly difficult. So the facilities and the camps are very comfortable and really have a lot of creature comforts that seem to be really appreciated in that landscape. It's just a nice scenic shot of how the camps are. We have a basic lounge area, and obviously always a campfire going, and a lot of the meals will be cooked by our guide team on the campfire, and it really is something that people really tend to be enjoyed just to be a part of and witnessing that happen as well. As I mentioned, it really opens up the market for any walkers, as you can walk with a day pack only. So the walks are generally between 8 and 16 kilometres on any one day. However, the 8, while that doesn't sound like a great deal, the terrain can be difficult, as you can see from that photo there. It can be challenging if you're basing it on kilometres alone. We do say that it could be achieved by anyone, but if you're not a regular walker, we'd certainly advise a couple of months of training just on trails or doing bushwalks or as similar as you can access in your hometown or city to prepare yourself for the walks. You have facilities like hot showers out in the wilderness, which is fantastic, and people find that is often a highlight for them as well. It does look quite basic in some of these photos, but after a day in the wilderness walking on the trail, coming back and being able to have a hot shower under the stars is a really special and unique experience that people do tend to really appreciate and love, and some people tend to come away with that being one of their highlights of the trip as well. With the camps that we have, we are able to really lift the bar on the level of food and catering that we're providing for. We give a lot of training to the guides on the menus that we're delivering, and we're always making sure that is the highest quality, and people are always surprised in what we're able to deliver out there in the wilderness. I know this year there's steamed barramundi, slow cooked lamb shanks, roast lamb on the fire with roast potatoes and things like that. So it's a really high level of food that we're providing out there, and again, it's a highlight for a lot of people. We do have several local Indigenous contributors to the program, which is fantastic and has been really well received. On night one, we have one of the local landowners come and do a talk on bush tucker, and you get to enjoy some of that food. And on day two, we have at one of the very iconic stops, Stanley Chasm, we have a cultural conversation with another one of the local traditional owners that is really eye-opening for a lot of people and seems to enjoy. So, I guess in summary, it's a 6-day walk through the West Macdonald Ranges. On day 5, we do a summit of Mount Saunder. That's the official finish point of the Larapinta Trail, and we do that early in the morning, so you are up on the summit for a sunrise, which is it's a very special experience to be up there at that time in the day. We hit all the major iconic spots along the Larapinta Trail, and we do have those Indigenous contributors as well. We have brilliant campsites, and it's obviously there is a really unique range of fauna and cultural history on the trail that our guides are sharing with you the entire time. So that's it. So the group size is up to 4 and a maximum of 16 people. The minimum age is 14. We have been COVID accredited and been operating with those things in place and are still doing so. Because of the nature of the trip, those 6 days we are trying to get the maximum amount of activities during those times. That's usually required that clients are required to arrive the day before and also depart the day after, because we'll be leaving very early on day 1 and arriving about 5 or 6 p.m. on the final day, which means with the flights in and out of Alice Springs, that will pretty well mean that you'll always need to arrive a day before and depart the day after. So I think that's all from me. If there's any questions I can cover, I'd be happy to do so. Otherwise, my name is Michael. You can find further details on our website, either World Expeditions or Australian Walking Holidays.
Great, thank you, Michael. We've just had one question come through about the Larapinta tours connecting with the GAN. Do you have any on offer that connect up with the GAN?
I assume I'm unsure, sorry, but our trip does. So that classic Larapinta between April and September, we have 4 departures a week.
Okay.
So I'm sure that there are, but I'm not familiar with the dates that the GAN run. So. Yeah.
Okay. So you could probably get it to connect up if you had a night, maybe added an extra night or something. I'm sure.
Yeah,
it would connect up.
I do know we have had clients do it, but I'm not familiar with the schedule and how you'd have to tie that in. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. We just had Rachel, did you catch that message? It's just disappeared on me.
Yeah, sure. So just from Cheryl, just asking all the presenters if their products that they've presented today are available to trade, which I assume they all are. But if anyone wants to jump in, if that's not correct. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yep, great. Any other questions, Rachel?
No, that's all I've seen.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I'm just going to quickly put my screen back up so you can just grab my contact details. So just a reminder, our trade training program website is trade.northernterritory.com. So please go on there to find out more information, and my details are here if you've got any questions. So thank you to our operators for attending today. They were 3 really different products, but really interesting actually. I think, it's great to see the range of product that we've got on offer in the Northern Territory. Thanks to all of our agents for tuning in today. Thank you for supporting us, and we hope to see you all again soon. So we'll see you all later. Bye.